Hi, good morning. This is Clara Bellino. I am coming at you from Eclectic Gallery on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland, California. And this is our fifth episode of Time to Turn the Tables, where my team and I have decided to highlight some of the friends we've had the privilege and the joy and the fun to work with. Today, I am introducing to you Lenise Bent, who's a dear friend and an amazing producer. And so without further ado, here is Lenise. How are you doing, Lenise, today?
I am doing so well, Clara. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me. It's so great. Anytime we spend together is wonderful.
I know. I love spending time with you too. And so Lenise is in Los Angeles. I'm in Northern California in Oakland. And Lenise and I met I believe the first time in 2013 at a music conference in Los Angeles. We sat on a couple panels together. And I just really, the first time I met Lenise, I really hit it off with her. And I was really grateful that when I reached out to her halfway through my last album, she said, yes, let's do this together. I wanted to work with her. I'm going to just say a couple things about Lenise before I ask her questions, and she will tell you about her story. Lenise is somebody who's worked with in all kinds of capacities, but with Blondie and Supertramp and Steely Dan, but what my experience of Lenise as a wonderful woman is also, oh my God, when I was in the studio with her, Lenise knows her stuff. I was just in awe watching her work with microphones and things. But enough about me talking about Lenise. Let's get Lenise involved here. So, Lenise, welcome from Los Angeles. And the first thing I want to ask you is, which I always ask my guests, is when was it that you knew that music was going to be part of your life in a way that it had to be part of your life?
Well, I was pretty much born this way. My earliest memories are listening to the radio and singing along to the radio and with my family, and they are all quite musical, maybe not professionally, but just as a whole. We always still sing together and play together.
Yeah.
But as a child, I was always fascinated with music and musical instruments and piano, and an uncle who was a great bluegrass performer and singer taught me how to harmonize when I was 4, stuff like that. So music, I can't imagine my life without it.
There you go. I feel the same way, but I see that. I mean, I know this about you. All right. So as a producer, what is your purpose? Why are you involved in any project as a producer? How do you see that? Why do you think you're involved in any project as a producer?
I'm so glad you're asking me this, because a lot of people don't understand what a producer does and why anybody would have one. And the purpose of a producer is to take the vision of the artist and the song and fine tune it and mold it to inspire a performance, to capture a performance, and to facilitate all of the actual logistics to make sure that that song can happen, that record can happen, anywhere from the creative process of working with the artist directly or the band directly to say, change, the drum tempo, let's pick up the beat a little bit, maybe drop that verse or rearrange it this way, rehearsing, and then also, managing the budget. That's one of our biggest responsibilities, is making sure that that budget that we have, that we can create that project that we have committed to within that budget and on time. And so it covers the gamut: creatively, business, administrative, all of that.
I, as an artist, have decided years ago that there was no reason for me not to work with a producer. I love involving producers in my projects, because I'm an artist who, I know what I want on my songs in terms of instruments and everything, but it's to me, it's just like adding, I can't do it all, and why wouldn't I avail myself of somebody who has input, other ears, And I have to say that working with you, I was, clear about the instrumentation and what I wanted on the songs, but you are so good at translating the vision. Whatever I brought to you, you made it happen, which was just really so wonderful to experience. And so I just wanted to share that because
Well, thank
it
you.
is,
Well,
no, it
the
is.
important part too, I want to encourage people to know how important pre-production is. You and I worked very closely together, literally very
We,
closely together.
we had
Whether
the,
it was here in my place or if in Kauai, the
yeah,
inspiration that we got, going to develop and do pre-production with you there, that made a huge difference.
yes,
And so
we
many
had
people
the,
don't understand how important that is.
we had the fortitude or I don't believe it's completely luck, but we did get to spend time in Hawaii working on pre-production in a wonderful garden and just sitting there and going, yeah, pinch me, this is what we're doing today, we're just working. So we could go on about that, and but I think it's well, I know from experience with you that there is no doubt in my mind that it behooves any artist to involve somebody of their choosing whose work they respect. And so my next question to you is, I'm going to be part of this music scene because, what is your reason for being part of the music scene at this point in your life?
Well, some things just don't ever change, except that for me, being a part of the music industry and doing what I do, what I bring to a project, not just as a producer, but as an engineer, the console and the gear and all that, that's an instrument that I play and the palette that I paint with. It's a very creative aspect. It isn't all just technical. It's using those tools to be a member of the band or part of the whole project. So that is how I see myself and how I can inspire others with my experience at this point. That's one of the greatest things I can do, is encourage and inspire up and coming engineers and producers and give them the basic tools, because it's not about the gear. It's about how you relate to the artist, and it's all about the song.
Yeah,
Let's start there.
it,
You have to have a good song and something that makes me want to go, oh, I really want to work with this person. I really want to work on this song. Let's do this. And every artist deserves that.
I might defer a little bit with that. No, I'm kidding. No, every artist deserves that. No, I think that, I mean, my experience of production is that there's a big spectrum of understanding of production. There's some people who understand production as being what I call executive producing. It's like you finance the thing. That's very different. And I've encountered people who say, I'm your producer just because I can supply the money. No, you're not a producer. I mean, you're part of the equation, but the producer is really, can step in at a point between, I have these chords and I have a song, what would you do with it? Or this is what I hear, and how can you make that happen? And it's all good. So production can be so many things. I know that what we worked on and what I loved was just, here's what I hear and you making it happen. And in all the ways that you described. So my next question is a little bit similar, is what motivates you at this point? I mean, you've talked about inspiring and helping train and inform people, but what motivates you at this point?
It's just more of a reconfirmation of this thing that I've been passionate about all my life.
Okay.
I can't imagine not doing this.
Yeah.
And so I'm fortunate that there are many areas that I'm able to apply my skills and experience to, whether it's creating, producing records, coming up with, oh, we should put, pedal steel here, or we should put a harp here, or we should, all these things that we did, that sort of thing. But also speaking, doing post-production sound design, doing foreign dubbing, supervising, meaning taking care of the foreign versions of different films and songs in different languages. There are so many areas one can go into. Sound for film, records, podcasts, gaming.
Yes, you have.
It's a huge industry, and also medicine, healing through music, creating music that has the frequencies that calm, that cure. Yes, you can cure with music.
Yes,
So these areas are what, clearly you can see how passionate I am about this.
yes, I know that about you, and you have many skills in all those areas, and I know that what some of the um, things that were important to us commonly was the people we spend time with. We want, to me,
Oh
and
gosh, yes.
to you as well, is when we set out on our project, we had a couple criteria, which was to have, yes, talented people, but also great humans, great, and it's such privileged time when you're in the studio, and you brought in people who were not only super talented, but also just incredible humans. And so I know that the experience of what you do with who you do it, and I've seen you in videos working on different projects with young girls who are learning to express themselves, and so I mean I could go on about the many ways that you have contributed to different people's lives with your different skills. I wanted to it sounds a little bit like the same question, but what are you currently excited about? And I think you shared that, just continuing to do what you do best because it's your passion. But how would you like anyone to reach out to you? Why, where do you see yourself going in the future, immediately and distant, in your dreams? I know that's a big question, but this is your call to action. Basically, this is your show. We are going to share this with everyone we can, and how would you like people to reach out to you? Where would you like them to connect, and why, and what are you open to welcoming from the people who will reach out to you?
Well, I'm very much involved with a organization called Sound Girls, and they are so practical and supportive to empower and inspire young women getting into the audio world. And actually, I'm on my way to Europe, and I will be stopping in New York and speaking for Sound Girls on August 27th, and then also in Amsterdam, courtesy of Sound Girls, for their chapter there, September 3rd. And I'm quite sealed. There are so many different areas and involved in recording, analog tape recording, cut to vinyl, so digital involved with that, so I'm excited about that. Got a lot of projects coming up, including one with an opera singer who wants to step out of the opera box and use her voice to work with several different genres, reggae, hip hop, whatever. And that's going to be, well, it reminds me a lot of working with you, Clara, because it will be totally unexpected and inspirational. And that's what inspires me.
Yeah. Oh, listen, it's really so awesome talking with you. And Sound Girls, what a great project. I saw the video of the time you spent with them and how you guys created a song, and to hear these young women be asked to talk about what mattered to them and then collectively create a song, and then you guys recorded. That was really moving to me. So that's really awesome. I wanted to, because we at Eclectic Gallery, I want to involve my husband Chris Mickelson in this. We always aim to bring in a support, like a good juju support with what because what Chris, my husband, does, he used to be the president of the Rock Poster Society, so he's an expert in 60s and 70s rock posters. But I asked you, Lenise, you know, what would you like in the background to support the juju of our interview here together? And you mentioned a number of options, and there was Steely Dan, and there was The Last Waltz. Chris said, well, I already just sold the poster for The Last Waltz. And you also mentioned Mad Dog and Englishman. And
Leon Russell. Yeah. Yes, Leon Russell was a huge inspiration for me. In fact, that's when I had my epiphany. A dear friend years ago, Roger Lynn, who invented the Lynn drum. Anybody into
I had one of those.
drum samples will know who he is. He's iconic. He was engineer for Leon Russell when he was like 18 years old, and I was 19, and he said, oh, come over and see this recording studio. I'd never been in a recording studio before. I was studying film, and he invites me over. I'm a huge fan of Leon Russell. I walk in, Leon actually answers the door and just floored me. And I walk in, I see this home studio with a 40-track tape machine and this amazing music coming out from his record, Will o' the Wisp. And I said, that's it. I saw the gear, I saw the tape machines, I saw the console, I heard the music. I said, this is it. Now I know what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life.
Off to the races.
Russell is a huge inspiration for me. And I got to go back after I dropped out of university and joined a recording school. I would go back, and Leon let me use his house, his studio, to practice in.
That's amazing.
So he was huge in my life. I'm
well,
total inspiration.
I'm really glad that, I mean, because we searched and we wanted to make sure, and up until a couple of days ago, I was like, well, yeah, Last Waltz, we sold the poster. Supertramp, we don't have one. Blondie, it's gone. And this morning, Chris dug out these photos from Mad Dog and Englishman of Leon Russell. And so I wanted to just close on that note and just say, here behind us, in your honor, at Eclectic Gallery, is Leon Russell in the film 1971. These are stills from the 1971 Mad Dog and Englishman. And I've learned a lot through you about.
Great that you had those. So wonderful, yeah. You had those. Thank you for that. That's just really touching. I appreciate
you're so welcome. It was, I mean, this morning Chris came to the gallery early. He said, "Oh, I know exactly where they are. I'll put them on the counter, so when you get there, you can put them up." And I had to promise him not to break anything, because one time I put a poster up there and the frame crashed, so I was very careful with these. Anyway, but so that was in your honor, and I just love being able to make this kind of win-win situation where it's like Eclectique supports the Time to Turn the Tables to highlight people like you, my dear friend. Anyway, so we will share this. We will encourage, please send me the links that you would like people to go to. I mean, you said to Google you. Really, that's the easiest way. People, go ahead and Google Lenise Bent, and you will find out, okay? And listen to the interview and connect with her. Amazing lady, and amazing to work in the studio with. I've been really privileged to do so, and look forward to more. Have safe travels, Lenise, because I know you're leaving at the end of the month. And anybody here who would like to invite Lenise to speak in any of the European countries around where she is going at the end of the month, please reach out to her as well. Thank you so much, Lenise, and have a beautiful day. I'm going to talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun, Clara, as always.
Thank you. Love you. Talk to you soon.
You too. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.